III established the Appalachian boundary, which restricted westward expansion.
It didn't start recording.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh! No! Stop it! Stop. Take 2. The Proclamation of 1763. Henry III established the Appalachian boundary, which restricted westward expansion. Right there. After the French territories were conquered by the British, colonists believed they would be able to expand into Indian land. This led to many assaults of the indigenous people, which, as the Paxton Boys outbreak in December 1763, resulted in the death of 20 Indians. The Sugar Act. In 1764, the Sugar Act was installed to raise revenues in the British colonies. With the 10,000 stationed troops remaining, the colony's debt rose.
Will be good.
The Currency Act of 1751 restricted the emission of paper money by the colonies of New England. The Currency Act prevented it from providing funds for British troops in compliance with the Quartering Act. The Currency Act created tension between the colonies and the mother country and were a contributing factor in the coming of the American Revolution.
Overall, England used the Currency Act to limit and restrict the currency of the colonies.
I saw some blue shit. Is that him?
The Quartering Act allowed traveling troops to reside in colonial residents' homes at their leisure. This aggravated the colonial residents because it took control over their homes while England was sending over troops to their land.
The Stamp Act was passed by the British Parliament on March 22, 1765. The new tax was imposed on all American colonists, required them to pay a tax on every piece of printing paper, such as legal documents, licensed newspapers, and other publications. The money collected by the Stamp Act was to be used to help pay the cost of defending and protecting the American frontier.
Along with the Stamp Act, the Declaratory Act repealed the actual Stamp Act. So we were close, but we could do the accent. Come on.
Okay, the Townshend Act was passed by the British Parliament. It included 5 acts: the Revenue Act of 1767, the Indemnity Act, the Commissioner of Customs Act, the Vice Admiralty Act, Court Act, the New York Restriction Act. All these were meant to raise revenue in the colonies, to pay the governors and judges, enforce compliance with trade, punishing New York for not following the Quartering Act of 1765, and could tax the colonies. This met resistance, and the Parliament brought troops over in 1768 to control this resistance. Then, on March 5th, 1770, in opposition, the crowd gathered around the British sentry. They started slandering and throwing words and objects at the sentry and the crowd of British soldiers. So they came and they opened fire on the crowd, killing 5 men and injuring others. 8 soldiers were then prosecuted by John Adams and thrown in jail. After that, Parliament repealed the Townshend Acts, except for the Tea Act. Now, the first Committee of Correspondence was a shadow government. They controlled what basically happened in the colonies. There were different regions in which these the shadow governments ruled. In Massachusetts, Sam Adams was in that region, and in Virginia, Patrick Henry was in that region.